Thank you very much to the organizer, Community Jameel, Mbrapa, and CGIR for the invitation, for having me here, and for everyone involved in making this happen today. Congratulations, not only for the event, but of course for the launch of the FST-SPAG. Climate change is not about the environment, although it is partly about the environment. It's also a crisis of justice. That's because the poorest people in the world who contribute the least to global emission suffer the most from its consequence in their livelihood and in their life. Therefore, adaptation is not charity, it's a moral imperative. It's basic fairness. It's also the only way to move forward. And fairness is not just about making an effort, it's about succeeding, and therefore investing in solutions that work, especially in the most vulnerable communities. And we are very much falling short. The global adaptation finance gap is vast and it's growing. Governments in low and middle income countries are eager to do something, but they have no money to do this effectively. And of course, the current events suggest they might have less and less instead of more and more. In this circumstance, we must not only ensure that the budgets stay where they are, but also that every dollar spent on adaptation delivers impact. And that means investing in solutions that are backed by rigorous evidence and not just good intention. Enter FST-SPAG that is launched today or at this COP. FST-SPAG pipeline will bring together 500 million in rigorously tested science-backed solution, climate resilient crop, sustainable inputs, digital tools, including livestock system. Those are not isolated innovation or interventions. They are designed to work together, complement one another, to address multiple dimensions in food system transformation. What makes this portfolio unique is not just the diversity of ideas, but also the depth of evidence between each and every one of them. Only a small subset of what could be done has rigorously been evaluated. FST-SPAG is a coalition of funders committed to scaling what works. They are solutions that we are confident can deliver impact when they are scaled up and when they are integrated in public systems. In this sense, FST-SPAG is deeply aligned with the COP30 vision as articulated by President Correa de Lago, especially in the last letter, the 8th letter. It's a COP of implementation and it's a COP of adaptation. The pipeline reflects a cooperative, evidence-driven approach to adaptation, one that turns proven idea into scalable programs governments can own and sustain. It is not accidental that the three partners who are funding partners of this effort, Community Jameel, CGIR, and Mbrapa, are here together and have since been joined by many other colleagues. Mbrapa, of course, is storied in Brazil and around the world for being a very unique effort, state-funded, locally grounded research in all of the agri-zone of the country. And recent research by my MIT colleague has shown that it has contributed significantly to agricultural productivity and growth in the country, and as a rate of return of $1 brought in $13 in benefits to the country. That is because the research was relevant to each zone, and the best researchers were attracted to work here, and some of the innovation could be scaled up. CGIR, of course, is world famous for its prompting of the Green Revolution, bringing agricultural technologies relevant to many countries in the world. Community Jameel, Uzma already mentioned their involvement in many evidence-based. The one I'm obviously the closest to and the fondest of, a bit self-servingly, is JPAL, which I happen to have the honor of funding with support of Mr. Jameel before Community Jameel even existed. And the JPAL model, which became, I think, fundamental in everything Community Jameel is doing, and I think whose ethos is found itself in the FST-SPAG as well, is evidence to scale. Our motto at JPL that we came up with 20 years ago with no training communication was translating research into action. So in our work at JPL, what we've discovered is that the best approach to successful scaling is to apply a venture capital model for social impact with innovation in many attempts, many of whom will fail. And then that's stage 1 of piloting, and stage 2 of research at scale, and stage 3 of actually doing all of the legwork to get implementation at scale. KKI is our vehicle for climate research. But beyond that, once you have something that works, we have also learned, JPL is a little over 20 years old now and has already reached almost 1 billion people, not directly, but through the scaling up of solutions that work. So we have an experience or two, and we've discovered that it doesn't happen on its own. That even a great idea that is super effective, even an idea that has been modified such that it can be scaled up, may or may not scale up, depending on whether it finds a champion within government or not. So for this reason, we created a catalyzer, which we call the Innovation in Government Initiative, or IGA, which helps governments adapt and integrate proven solutions into public systems. So remarkably, what we do with IGA is to fund researchers not to do research, in fact, to stop doing research, but scale up what works, which could be their idea or even someone else's idea, by working hand in hand with government. We have a strong track record in identifying this evidence-based investable solution in health, in livelihood, and take it to scales through vehicles like IGI. We do this by bringing researcher and government together to make sure that these proven solutions are integrated into large-scale programs. Often what this means is hiring someone and placing them in the ministry so that they can make themselves useful generally, but also kind of help translating the ideas. We actually have relatively few of this food system innovation that have gone through this gauntlet. So we have a true, very high hope. We are placing very high hope in FST-SPAG to do that, because there are already innovations that are kind of waiting in the gate, ready to scale. Some of them have already been scaled in some places, but could be translated in others. Let me give you a few examples that relate to climate and food security. One is seasonal weather forecasting, which has already scaled in India. AI-powered monsoon forecasts are now more accurate than physical models. They're also, of course, much cheaper to run. We have helped scale the transmission to about 9 million farmers in collaboration with the state government in Odisha, India. This is essential for farmers to figure out when to plant, what to plant, or maybe to sit out the season. In Niger, rainwater harvesting, half moon, demi-lune in French, has helped restore degraded land and improve yields. And a scaled-up has started slowly with the government of Niger. In India, we've tested in West Bengal the flood-tolerant seeds, and now are scaling farmer adoption of these seeds through programs like farmer field days. In Guatemala, Mexico, and Brazil, payment for ecosystem services, so a conditional cash transfer to encourage smallholders to protect their trees, supporting indigenous communities and low-income households to reduce deforestation and emission, has also been found to be effective and is being scaled up. What we've learned through these examples and others is that it takes a lot to scale. We have partnership with 30 governments, and our policy teams work hand in hand with this implementer to do the work. We have identified that it requires identifying champions. Leveraging policy window is highly customized. There is not like one solution that works for everything. We draw on our networks of more than 1,000 researchers around the world plus many of our own staff, 500 of our own staff, and many we hire on occasion, including in the ministries. And in total, this is how we have managed to scale up of our projects to reach almost 1 billion people total, or about 1 million per project successfully scaled up. Today, we are all here to call for more investments in science to guide policy, and in science to work hand in hand with policymakers. As in Brazil, to do research that is actually relevant to the local context, as the Embrapa model showed, but also for policymakers to take on those lessons. To take another example of Brazil, we've shown that when you go to talk to mayors at a mayor's conference and you discuss with them results, well, they go back to their municipality and they are all ready to go and implementing these methods. So there is actually a huge amount of demand for things to work. There are many solutions that are ready. The capital to scale them is often missing. So today, we are excited to be here. We're excited to use this platform at COP to, along with the funding partner of FST-SPAG, to urge companies and philanthropies to join and fund what works. We have to invest in evidence-based programs that governments can own and can sustain. Thank you.